corrections to the agenda? If not, somebody move, may.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second by? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Approved. Minutes. Any additions, corrections, deletions to the minutes? Dana? Second by Justin. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Public comment period, 2 minutes. No personal attacks. Would anybody like to address the board?
Good morning, Commissioners. Ken Junker from the Crescent Township. I've given each of you a copy of something that the Houston County Protectors put together this weekend. I think all of us were at the public hearing last week on the proposed zoning ordinance, and I think we all recognize that it wasn't very acceptable to most people in this county. And so Houston County Protectors thought that this might be a good opportunity for us to put forward a proposal. And if you look at it, we're trying to find something that has appeal to a lot of people. And we believe that this proposal for an amendment to the zoning ordinance to deal with frac sand mining issue in this county does that. It may not satisfy everyone, but I think everyone could live with it. It's an attempt to find some common ground. Just briefly, if you look through this, it's built on the existing current zoning ordinance dealing with mining in the county right now. Most of this, 95% of it, comes right out of our existing zoning ordinance. What we've done is we've added less than a page and a half of regulation from the Florence Township zoning ordinance here up by Dakota County. And as you can see, what we did here, and this was talked about at the public hearing, we defined construction sand and industrial sand. And then it goes on to prohibit the mining of industrial minerals in this county. So I wish you would look this over. I wish we'd had a chance to be on the regular agenda to explain this more fully with you and to talk about it, to answer your questions. But I think it is pretty self-explanatory. But it is, again, it's an attempt to find some common ground in this long-standing debate we've had in this county. Clearly mining people in this county do not want the overregulation that was in the proposal on Tuesday night. Clearly we would like something regulating frac sand mining. So I hope you'll look this over and think about it, and we'd like a chance to present it to the study committee eventually here too. So, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
Ken, do you have another copy of that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do.
Is that the same that was emailed to us?
I emailed, well, I cleaned it up a little. There were a few typos on it.
Okay.
But the underlined portion is the portion borrowed from Florence Township. The rest is all from our existing county zoning ordinance right now. So keep that in mind.
Brian Magmore, Yucatan Township. What do we know? We know that rail access is coming to Houston County. We know that the fracking industry is transitioning to a larger particle size sand, which is what we have an abundance of in Houston County. We know that in March 15th, all protections from frac sand mining will be gone in Houston County. So, you have just 60 days to implement a ban, or Houston County will become the free-for-all frac sand mining capital that is Wisconsin right now. Miners will dictate how things are done around here. You will have more legal battles than you ever imagined. And the Erickson mine is just one small taste of that. You've been led around by the planning and zoning boys for 3 years. Now you find yourself backed into a corner. There can be no more procrastination. It's time for a ban. That is the only thing you can do to protect Houston County from frac sand mining at this time. Remember, you already voted in a roll call vote on March 25th, 2014 to write that ban. It's time to do what you voted for.
Thank you.
My name is Steve Hartwick. I'm from Money Creek Township. I think we all saw Thursday night that the miners in the townships don't want that aggregate field ordinance messed around with too much. That's what they're familiar and comfortable with. What we need is a separate second ordinance that defines sand mining, and not by volume, but by the process and the product. And you have a time frame to develop this before the moratorium kicks out. But that's probably not going to be enough. So what you need to do in the meantime is develop a prohibition language and have that go into effect. And it's probably going to be challenged. But the gears of the judiciary grind pretty slowly. So you're going to have a window there to develop something that you can put in your drawer that's a backup, something you can pull up. This is what was the original intent of what was supposed to be happening with this frac sand study committee. And if you get something like that, it should be stringent as possible. That's what we were assured that this was going to happen, is that we're going to have something that was going to be strong enough to protect Houston County. This obviously doesn't do that, the draft provision. It should be stringent, it should be specific in the details of what is in the ordinance and what has to be followed. And the third thing, it should have strict enforcement provisions.
Thank you.
Jack Nine, Allen County. I've done some research on county ban ordinances, and they can be written to include a provision that if it's legally challenged, successfully legally challenged, that the county would go into moratorium rather than, not have anything, and that would give a county time to have a regulatory ordinance put into place, and if you had one literally on the shelf ready to go, there you'd be. That's just an option that you have. We didn't have the political will in Alameda County to have an outright ban. Plus, we didn't know about this tactic either. It appears to me that you do have a political will in this county to have a ban, and Alameda went with a very strong regulatory ordinance that we feel de facto prohibits mining, which your proposed one doesn't quite do. We did that with zoning overlays, setbacks, and prohibited areas. But it seems to me that you do have the political will in this county to consider a ban, and I'd be willing to work with you on either one.
John Beckman, Houston Township. I'm going to switch gears a little bit this morning and talk about the old jail. I find it hard to believe that it's been 9 months and nothing's been done since the water froze and caused all the damage. That there hasn't been any effort, as I see, to find out how that could happen. If that was on a vacant building, needs more attention than a building that's being used, and every taxpayer in the county needs to know why this happened, who's responsible, and what's to be done about it. It was property damage to the county, and we need to know why. I realize it's kind of a predicament when your property manager is also your HR person, but it needs to be addressed, before this can go on. It costs the county money, and we know that if it was the zoning department, money would be no object to have that investigated.
Are there any further comments? Anyone else? Tom, we'll proceed with the meeting.
Hey, John, if you want to stick around, we do have jail updates coming up in a little while.
Well, that's okay, I trust you.
Okay. Clearly not, but.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we just talked about a few weeks ago, whenever we use the compliance fund to pay for anything, we have to come and get a board motion. And we came a couple weeks ago about our MCCC group